Okay, let me just spread it over. We left off on the abdominal muscles on the front view, and that's where I think we want to continue there. We're going to do them on the side views. You want to be looking at this side here. So now I can lower this. Just trying to get this situated here. Pick it up. So yeah, we did the abdominal muscles and on the front view. So now we're going to do them on the side view, and then we'll move up into the back and onto the pectoralis. But yeah, this is we'll be focusing here. And I had come in here earlier, and I was just drawing out the kind of like the outline of the abdominal muscles. And let me show you what's going to happen. What's going to happen on that area. Some people are coming in. Hold on. Let me find my notes here. So we're almost done here with the, if we were to add all the muscles on the right and the left, it would take longer, but I think today and then one more day we should be done. And then we'll use this that we've learned to add more detail to our drawings. But yeah, I'm gonna work on this right here, this view. Keep keep in mind the proportions, the belly button, the umbilicus at the third head, and up here, the fifth rib, and the breast, the mammary papilla here. Keep in mind those proportions. So there's more people coming in. All right. Let me draw this. So on this view, I believe I had used let me use red again. On the fifth, remember on the fifth rib, and I've got on this view, I had already drawn the external oblique, and I left a space there. This is the fifth rib. Remember to number them so that you can locate yourself. So that's the fifth rib, and I have a space there between the external oblique and the cartilage portion of the rib here. And in between there, I'm going to draw this line going all the way. See, I'm going to stop it right there because this around here, you've got the third head measurement. And from here, it starts to curve downward like this. And so this is that lower portion. I'm going to add some thickness to this. This is that lower portion of the abdominal muscles. And then up here, I'm going to bring this all the way to the sternum and then bring it down here. A little bit thicker here. And then this is the 10th rib, and here is the one of the portions of the six pack. And then on the 7th rib, you've got the other portions. So you got the 1, 2, and 3. So this is the basic, breakup of the abdominal muscle right there. 1, 2, 3, and then this longer portion that goes all the way to the pelvis. And you're gonna have this gap that is filled in with a type of tendon-like skin here. Let me do this line as well. Now, if you look at these three portions, well, these three and the fourth, they are angled, differently. Like this top portion is going to be facing up. That's what this arrow here represents. This one will be pointing, just to its orientation will be more frontal, something like this. This one is going to be more set in. I'm going to eventually cut into it. This is further in than the top one, and then the lower one, and then this one you can see that its orientation is facing downward. It's doing that. And see this one, because it's a triangular form that goes down, we see more of this one. So that's why I have this almost like a 3/4 view arrow. And there's more people coming in here. So yeah, those of you guys that are just coming in, we're working on the abdominal muscles here. And remember the way remember what happened on this top portion. You had a portion that would attach to the 5th rib, divided into 3. One that attached to the 6th. I'll define them with color a little bit, and then one that attached to the 7th. And so I'm going to color this. I'm going to just fill it in with red. I'm trying to use the softer pastels here to get this going a little faster. Fill it in with the red. And see this figure that was, just the skeleton, see how it's filling in nicely? And then here, a little bit of white. And this one, like I said, is going to be more set in. This one's going to come out a little bit more. And then this one has those 3 portions. 1, 2, 3. And then I don't want to forget this here is the rib cage. And then I also want to use some white here to create that look or that tendon-like separation between them. And now I'll move on to the Conte pencils. To outline it. Here are the three portions. And then the bottom portion here that is curving away from the light. And see, this is where that tendon-like structure is gonna, there's this gap here. You have muscles coming out of this gap from inside the pelvis onto the leg. This. I'm gonna use the, I'm gonna make, remember this, everybody has, no matter how fit you might be, how many sit-ups you might do, you're always gonna have somewhat of a protruding stomach here. That's because the structure of the rectus abdominis muscle here. That one's more sit in. And there is no way, unless you really suck in your stomach, that you have a totally flat. So that, I don't know if you can hear that noise. That was the, I have a heater here because it gets super cold in the office. Again, I don't want to forget here the arch. This is the arch of the rib cage, the major form here. So that's looking good there. And then I had made this area here. I had used green, so I'm gonna put some green in there. And just very lightly, I don't want to lose the rib cage right there, because it goes in here. And see, that's that transitional form right there. I like these brighter colors because you see a big contrast between the muscles, but sometimes it's kind of hard to see beyond that. It looks too neon, and I have a hard time convincing myself that it looks like an anatomical or like muscles, the right muscle color. That's why I'm going to put some red here. So this red chalk. See, now he's got a good amount of mass. And now this is pure, pure muscle. For you would have a layer of fat, in different areas, depending on the body fat mass index. And of course, like in this area, we're gonna put in the Latissimus Dorsi in a little bit. But yeah, so this should conclude the side view here of the rectus abdominis. You don't see this on the front view. I mean on the back view. And here I can now cut this out, this white with the right, cover up that red, so we can see the rib cage. And then some outline here on to separate it on the external oblique. See, there we start to get more depth. That is farther, and it's overlapped by the erectors of the spine, the medial form, and then this is even closer to us external oblique. I'm gonna put some green here to show that this is what happens here. So I'm working out here some meetings on Zoom for the photography candidates. I have to be checking my email. So I can probably now lower this. Lower this. So we can go here on the I'm deciding what to do first. We've got Pectoralis Minor, serratus. We're gonna leave the arm for another day because it has to be done separately. And we're gonna work on this a little bit here on the scapula. So that's what's gonna happen on the scapula. There are 4 different muscles. Here you can see there's one on the very top over the spine of the scapula that goes into the top of the humerus right there. There's a gap right there between the scapula and the humerus. This is because it's on top of the spine. That's the spine there. It's called the supraspinatus. And then underneath, it's the infraspinatus, also attaches to the top of the humerus, to the top, but on the back. And then there's this one, the teres, this bright green one. This is the Teres Major and the Teres Minor here. So we're gonna work on those. And I believe I have a drawing here because that interlocks with the triceps. Let me see if I can- So we'll start off from the top. I mean, maybe I do this one first. It might make more sense on this one here first. See, this is the spine. And on top of this is where we will put this muscle. I'm going to use violet. And this, I'm going to color all this here with this soft pastel. This is actually hard pastel, but it's softer compared to the Conte pencils and the Conte sticks that I have. And see, it grabs. This is the humerus, the top of the humerus, and it grabs on there. And I'm going to put some white here. You can maybe see it a little bit better. So all this here, it gets taken up by the supraspinatus muscle. All this, and it comes with a type of tendon or ligament. It attaches here to the top of the humerus. Now let me outline it a little bit more so you guys can see this. And it might get, I might have to make it bigger later. This gets covered up by a muscle we'll do later. It's the trapezius. See, it makes the big mass of your shoulder. And some shading here to indicate that it's going behind the spine. This is really becoming more like a biological illustration. you know, because of all the detail we're putting into this. And like I said, it comes over here. And this again, this spine, like the spinous process of C7, it's right there under the skin. There's nothing on top of it. So it's that bony landmark. So I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow there so you indicate that it's right on the surface. You can feel this very clearly, and of course also this. It's a lot of fun to do pastels like this. Also, many years ago, when I was a student, I had this great opportunity to be a courtroom artist here in the valley. There was a federal case that involved one of the county judges. You know, not surprisingly, there's a lot of corruption in the politics of the area. And it was a federal courthouse, and so they wouldn't allow cameras, and so I got hired by Channel 5 to go into the courthouse and do sketches. It was a lot of fun. This is what I had. I would take some toned paper and a small set of pastels. This was probably before you guys were born. I'm sure it was before you guys were born. Back in like 96. So that is the supraspinatus muscle. And see over here, make one of these geometric diagrams of what's going on here. So let's say this is simplified geometric view of the scapula. Something like that. See, this is the humerus. Now, these muscles that are going to continue here, this is the supraspinatus, and it's going to be rather flat, and it attaches to the top, but it does something like this. Let me do some erasing here. And then on this space, so this is the infraspinatus. And then this one that is more round. It attaches like this here. And so this is flat. That's what this dotted line is going to represent. And then this one is more like a sausage. And in this gap here, this is where the tricep, the long head, inserts in that gap. So all this becomes to kind of create a basket weave. And then let me put some white here. That's what that indicates. It's overlapped. But it's under the I'm gonna do this one. Move it over a little bit here. And so it goes right, right under the spine as the name implies. And see where I've got these two marks, like little dents or dimples on the bone. This is the space that it's going to take up. And all under here. So I'm gonna put some color there. So what color to use? We'll go with white first to add some opacity to this. I'm not trying to do like a red violet. And then red. Look how that looks. Looks pretty nice there. I'm gonna put the violet. I'll use the finger. So this is infraspinatus muscle. And I'll use this is my darker red content here. But keep this kind of structure in mind. And then this wider portion where the it becomes more like ligament. Now let me show you, just to make things a little bit more complicated. See right here, this is what we just did, infra. Then there's another little muscle here. This is the Teres Major, this big one, and that's the Teres Minor. There's a little bit of a division there. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I think this is a good strategy here with white. Just to differentiate it, I'm going to put a little bit of blue. And then back to my darker red chalk here. So this is the Teres Minor. Want to keep these two separate. And this is the tricep, the long head. It's called long head because it has this longer portion that attaches to the scapula there. And right underneath it, you will have in this area. And I'll probably go and use, but see, this is where this is the bottom of the scapula. And this, it does this right here. I'm going to use green now. And it goes, see what's happening there? So I should keep with this some white. With the shorter piece of white here. It goes behind the tricep. Break this. This is Teres Major. A little bit of red to make it look more muscle-like. And some cross contour to make it look more round. So this is the beauty here of the anatomy, how it interlocks and creates all kinds of interactions between the muscles. And use some black here. And keep in mind, you know, what I had done over here, it wraps around the humerus, but behind the tricep here.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to step out for a bit to go pick up my wife again.
Well, you gotta go get her, man.
Yeah,
Can't leave her out there.
no way.
Yeah. All right.
I'll try and hurry back.
Okay. So I'm debating here which one to do next. Now there's another one here, but this one is those are the muscles of the scapula. Now let me show you. You see this here? This outline. That shape right there, that is the rhomboids. They're rhomboids because there's one on this side, one on this side. So we're gonna do that one. And this one overlaps all the ones we've done previously. So these are the rhomboids, and it does, you look over here, let me try to place it correctly. So this is gonna attach the rhomboids. This is C7. So remember this, I only drew here the nuchal ligament here. And then there's spinal ligament. So it attaches from right on top here, you've got the spine of the scapula, and it goes at an angle to the nuchal ligament that is associated with C6. So this is 7, that yellow spot there. And it's going to overlap all these muscles. And this creates a flat plane on your back, on your upper back. So it connects from there to there, and then from the bottom here to the the spinal ligament that is associated with T5. So we've got the fifth rib, and here we've got the fifth vertebrae. And so it's going to do this. So I'm going to fill in all this. And sometimes it's a shame to cover up all this nice detail work that I did. And I might use, I like the way that the light green is showing there. So yeah, that is going to overlap. I'm gonna do something like this here. I'm gonna do this with yellow here. So this is the rhomboids, and it creates the rhomboidal plane. Very prominent flat plane on the back. So I'm gonna use white here. Now I have so much color here, so but keep in mind this is overlapping everything. Some of that green. And I know that if I put red, it's going to become more brown, and therefore more muscle-like. But see here, I want to do this just so that this has a slight green tone to it, and we can differentiate it from the other muscles. And it's rather, long here, but there's a separation here. It's almost like cut up into two pieces. So that's the rhomboid. And so now we're gonna do these on the side view. I think we're doing good on time. I want to do that. I want to finish for the back here. The only ones that are missing, I mean, there's you know, there's this, you know, this is the serratus, and there's a posterior serratus that goes over the erectus of the spine. We're not gonna do that, but there, I mean, there's a lot more stuff here. And then there's also a serratus under the rhomboid. So there's a lot more than, but these are the major ones, and within reason of as to what we can do with. As it is, we spent a lot of time on this. But yeah, there's a lot more. But the only ones that I'm gonna add after this is the latissimus that goes here. It goes overall, goes over the serratus and over this portion here. It's kind of like a corset or like a faja. It pushes all this in. It's very thin and the very thin muscle, but very strong. But it makes most of the form up here. This is where it gets thick, and it attaches right below the teres major on the humerus. So it's only that one and the trapezius, which goes goes here on the back of the neck, over the scapula. It's thicker up here and over the scapula, then it gets very thin down. It makes like a triangle. Very nice looking muscle. So we're almost done with all the back muscles. And I think also in the front, we did, I think, all the ones we needed, with the exception of the deltoid. But yeah, we did the pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, serratus, the external oblique, and a bunch of the neck muscles. So I want to get to the part of the leg, not all, we won't finish all the leg and all the arm muscle, but we should be able to do those in one more class after this one. So I'm going to scoot this over. So I'm going to follow the same, same muscles that I did, but now on the side view. And so here, I'll use white. I'll use white first. That right there, and I'm going to put some purple on top to create the supraspinatus here. And see, it attaches up here on the humerus. And I'm gonna add some some violet here so you know that it's that same muscle. But see, it overlaps the levator scapulae. This one here. Just want to outline it a little bit. I might have made this a little bit too exaggerated, but so that is the supra. Now the infra. And that one I made what color? Kind of like a pink. So again, this, I'm gonna give it its, even though I said it's flat, it should, you know, come out of the contour. This is the contour of the scapula. It should, you know, have a little bit more form than that. And it uses up all this space and attaches here to the top, but the back. And then I had done red over it. So now I'm going to outline it. It fills up all this space. And here just to show the attachment there. And then right under that, you had the Teres Minor. I believe I had put some blue on that. A little bit of white. Just so we don't forget, this is overlap. This is the bone overlapping here. The serratus muscle. And then this one here, I'm gonna outline it. I'm gonna leave that gap there, but it's gonna stay empty because I'm not gonna overlap it with the tricep. So it does that. And I had put some green. Now some black here just to, all the white helps in making it opaque, but then they all become very pastel, they become tints, so they become very washed out. So it goes behind, from this angle, it goes behind the humerus here. And see, that's the gap for the tricep.
Crazy things.
All right, so now what we need on this view is the pectoralis. Pectoralis, or let's do, because the pectoralis is going to cover up all of this. Let's put in the latissimus dorsi. Just lower this a little bit here. So the latissimus, like I said, it's let me show you the diagram I had here, but then I'll draw it over here. See this here? See, it's mostly tendon and a very thin muscle. And then this is the portion where it gets thicker. And you can see here, this is where you see it on the figure. You see this kind of division right here. And the mass of it is up here. Down here, it just becomes very thin. And the forms that you see down here are still the erect of the spine, medial and lateral form, and the rib cage. It just becomes big and mass and bulky up here, right under the teres major. So on this one, I'll draw that. So it goes from the humerus over the teres. And pretty much over, you'll see it's gonna go over the serratus, covers up the serratus. Follows the rib cage. And it around the pelvis, and it attaches to the ligament, to the spinal ligament. It goes down the middle here. It does this. Now, I'm going to use white. I'll keep this one fairly simple here. This is where it becomes a big mass here. And then from there, it just kind of fades away. And it's a big mass when it's over the serratus. It just becomes like a bulge right there. And that's where you see it, something like that. So it pushes in the scapula and the muscles of the scapula. Goes over the rhomboids. We just see you see this. And see here, it kind of folds. The attachment, I'm gonna draw it up here. It does something like this. See, this is what connects to the humerus, kind of like a ribbon. See, all this is in shadow. Just so you kind of understand what's happening here. See, that's what's happening behind the Teres Major and in front of the humerus. See, this is this here, and then that. So we're gonna put that on this over here. And let me lower this a little bit more. So like I said, it attaches from the humerus. And it just goes over this bottom corner. And so we have the spinous up to the spinous process of 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it follows this spinal ligament all the way down to the very bottom of the sacrum. And I just want you to know that this, because you see this very clearly on the model. And then this is going to overlap all of the serratus. It'll just become a big bulge like this. And then it kind of follows the contour of the external oblique. But here again, it's the form of the rib cage and the erector of the spine. I'll do some shading here where it becomes thicker. This is when you see it. And you're gonna lose all those divisions of the serratus. And then after that, it just kind of disappears. And it's thick right here. And you do see the, I'll try and just bring out the form of the serratus. You do see this, but you lose all the individual separations. And you do see it separate from the form of the rib cage. So that's, I like how that looks. And here you can keep that, and there's a down here there will be a little gap left. And this, right now this looks empty, but like I said, there's the serratus, serratus posterior that is in this area as well. But the major form is direct to the spine and the rib cage. Okay, so we'll do this muscle, but on the side view. So he's filling in quite nicely, like he's been taking his vitamins. And you're gonna see, just minimal detail here. And so I already have some white here from the bone that I use on the bone here, but see it. You don't see it down here so much, but then it wraps. It wraps over the serratus here. I'll come back and I'll redraw the bone here. But see, all of this part of the serratus, all this individual forms. They get lost. It's kind of like a hand coming out of a long sleeve here, or the fingers. I had mentioned on the serratus, you only see 9, 8, 7, and 6. These are going to get covered up with the pectoralis. You do see a little bit of the fifth one as well, but very little. And then you see this overlap here on the Teres Major. And the attachment is on the inside of the humerus. We don't see it here either. You might see it from the, gets covered up on the front view as well. Just to show the thickness of that muscle there. And then this is ribcage. Matt came back here. Okay, now I'm going to just draw a little bit of the bone here, just this is the humerus that overlaps all these things that we saw. And see, now I can go ahead and do the pectoralis. So we're going to do this, the pectoralis muscle. And so you're going to have the It's three portions. Remember, it goes, this goes down to the, on the fourth rib. Yeah, the fourth rib here. I'll bring that over. So this goes way down. So it's attaching up here to the clavicle. And then on the end of the clavicle. It kind of folds, it does that. Now, you know, keep this in mind, how this helps in building the form here, the Pectoralis Minor. So what color had I done this? I'm gonna do this brown or red and just try to differentiate it with value. So this is the clavicular portion. Of the pectoralis here. And remember, this is where it becomes more massive. And over here, it's primarily the rib cage that you see. I want to just add some opacity here. Now, I think I can move the camera a little bit closer. And then after that, we have the sternal portion. This is clavicle, and all this is the sternum. And see, this it starts at on the clavicle, but it's further down. This other portion is when overlaps 5 here. And I've got the fourth rib. It's gonna maybe follow that a little bit. That And this, on this view, it's maybe the mass of it's gonna overlap the sternum. And that attaches right at the middle here. Getting some white. This is the sternum, the sternal portion of the pectoralis. And see, I'm going over where I had the pectoralis minor. So this is where you see the form of it. Over here, it's very thin. I think, like I mentioned, you can, with the palm of your hand, you can do like, do it like this and put the palm like where your sternum is, and you can just kind of feel around like this, and you feel the rib cage and the sternum, and then as you go towards the sides of your chest, you start to feel the mass, and that's what I'm trying to indicate here. Clavicular, and then the sternal portion. So I'm gonna make this here a little bit more red. See, this goes on top here. And then the last one is the portion that is attached to the ribs, and it overlaps. It goes on fifth. And so you got 9, the ninth portion of the serratus that's on the ninth rib, 8, 7, 6, Like I said, it covers up 5. See this, and then it attaches higher up here. So I will see where I've got the Pectoralis Minor mats in white here. And then also this is like this lower portion of the breast, you know, this is where you get the fat, where it accumulates. So you have more muscle and then you have more fat. That's where you see more of that substantial form. And of course here, I'm separating it from the external oblique, but probably the fibers kind of blend, you know, probably doing something like this. Like all these muscles kind of blur and blend. Looks good there. And this is the portion that is up here. Yes. So the clavicular portion ends up lower, at the lowest. It's the highest up here, but it's the lowest on the humerus. The sternal portion stays in the middle. The lowest portion, which is on the rib cage, ends up higher on the humerus. So that's what those 3 different values or forms that I try to indicate. My fingers are all dirty, so it's like hard to keep it clean. And the fibers of this muscle, they kind of do this, they follow the ribs as well here. Again, but you don't want to lose This, that's the big mass of it. Now we do, what do we do now? We can move down to the legs. On the trapezius. We should do the trapezius that way. That's the last muscle of the back that we're gonna do. And let me go on this view over here. And I can zoom out here. Now the trapezius, it goes it goes on the back of the neck, on the shoulders. That's gonna be the thickest form, and then a very thin portion attaches to the rib cage. So let me show you what it looks like. Now, of course, it like all these muscles, it goes on both sides, But again, to avoid all this buildup, and so that we can see it more clearly, let me show you. We're gonna do it only on this side where there's less buildup of. I have less buildup of pastel. But see this. This is a trapezius here. The trapezius makes the backmost plane of your neck. And let me see if I can kind of draw it in the same way that I drew these here. And it's called trapezius. Has three forms. And now this is not going to be to scale because I'm running out of space, and it'll do this here. It'll have. Trying to find a good space here. So you want to draw this just to get acquainted. This is a portion that'll go on the back of the neck. And I'm gonna give it a little bit of three-dimensional form here. And then there's a portion that goes on top of the supraspinatus, which makes your shoulders. It's like a cross here. And then these are the thickest forms. Let me tilt this so we can see it a little bit better. That's on top of your change the orientation of this. That's on your shoulder, and then a very thin portion that goes down to your spine. So that's what we're gonna draw here. So I'm going to sketch it out first. So here, it's this that I'm doing. Of course, this first is the portion over the supraspinatus. And there's another portion. See what time it is here. All right, we've got time to do this one. And it goes all the way down the trapezius. It's going to attach, you see this? This is the occipital protuberance, or it's a kind of little outgrowth out of the back of the cranium, because it's on the occipital bone. And it attaches here, up here on this area, all the way down on the ligaments here of the spinous process, all the way down to the 12th. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here, all the way here. And see, from here to draw it, correctly, I'm gonna go straight up to this part here. This is the very thin. You hardly see it here, and it, of course, is gonna overlap. You see it at this. You see this on the models of the very fit models. I'm just gonna draw a portion of it here. It creates that very clear indentation there. So that is this portion, the thinnest portion. And then it follows here on top of the spine here. And it, of course, you sub the spinal ligament all the way down. But yeah, keep in mind this form here is primarily this that's underneath the supraspinatus muscle. And see, it gets rather thin on the back of the neck. The rest of the neck is splenius capitis, and this is semispinalis. So let me kind of, let's say you have on either side, this is going to be the trapezius. And then under this, you have the splenius capitis. Just so you can kind of see it more clearly, can really push the limits on muscles here. And see, it makes this super beautiful shape, kind of like a tree. And then this space in here, this is the semispinalis capitis, this one. Just so you see how they kind of all kind of flow, all this. We'll talk when after spring break, we'll talk about all the S curves that you see throughout the figure. There's beautiful rhythms all the way, you know, flowing all over this like infinite kind of curves that make the infinite symbol and S curves all over it. You know, like if I follow this and go down the rhomboids and down the spine of the back of the scapula, down to the serratus and the external oblique, you know, just kind of, we'll put tracing paper over this and you can just follow those lines. And another way of connecting all those, connecting the whole figure and not focusing so much on the individual portions. And then of course down here you have this is the Levator Scapulae, a little bit of the Scalenius. So all these forms just overlapping. So all this, you know, every time I draw it, just like it just kind of blows my mind. I don't know, just my see all these shapes, very organic, you know. So down here, I'm not gonna do anything because its form is you know, just minimal. The main thing I want to do is just main form that it has is here. And even this is pretty, it has more thickness than this, but it's still, this is a big piece, the one on your shoulders. Because it builds on top of the, like I mentioned, the supraspinatus. And there's, like I said, there's on the back view, it does this, right? The back of the neck, we see over the spine and down here. This other portion that I drew here goes on the clavicles on the front view, and you will draw that on the side view as well. And also here on the back of the neck, the multifidus, those erectors, that cylindrical forms, remember up here? This is still the major form, even when you do the trapezius on top. So I'm just gonna line up this. It's a little painful to cover up all these nice muscles that I've done. So I probably get when it gets wider here. I exaggerated it. And see, this is the rhomboid that creates that plane here. So this is the form over the scapula. This is the form that goes over to the clavicles. This is the form that goes to the neck, to the back of the neck. I might go back and rework this because it does get kind of, have to review my notes better. This is part of this from my mind. So, you know, these three make up the whole trapezius, but then, you know, these three make up the top portion. So like 1, 2, and then there's another one between that goes to the clavicle. And see, I'm making this around C7. They're like this, you know, something like a diamond shape. That's what kind of happens here. That's why I'm trying to do this. And that's, you know, like tendon like tissue around there that makes that diamond shape. And then, again, you pat yourself around there, around that bony landmark, and you feel that it's definitely harder than the muscles of the trapezius and semispinalis, all that layering. Okay, so that's the trapezius on the back view. Now let me do it on the side view. I think we only have time for this one. I want to get 703. We'll finish this, maybe the front view of it as well. And then I want to check your notes, your anatomy notes. And see, on this view, we do have, clearly we have, this is Levator Scapulae, Splenius capitis, semispinalis, the scalenius. And so the trapezius is, let me see what color to use here. I'm gonna use red, orange. See, it's gonna cover over, the supraspinatus. And so there's this portion. And then there's the clavicular portion. So this is like a red orange. Okay, just to separate the different forms. Comes over the clavicle. I like how this looks. I was hesitant to go over my supraspinatus, but I like how this looks. And also on this view, you see this very nicely. And we're still missing the Sternocleidomastoid muscle. I might have added too much. want to emphasize this form because this is closest to us. So that's a trapezius. And then over this, we will put the deltoid. Or maybe we'll do that separately when we do the arm. Now, don't forget, I'm just going to do a little bit of that neck here. Just so that it makes more sense there. Now, it's a little bit of distortion because of the angle there. But that's that guy's, he's getting filled in with all his anatomy. I think I added too much on the back of the neck. It looks like a linebacker for the football team. So now I'm going to move this and put the front view and do the trapezius from the front view. And we will just draw it on the right side here. So it comes from behind here, behind the Sternocleidomastoid, and it will do this. Keep in mind here, there's the other forms, these here. This is the portion coming from behind, attaching to the scapula. This is, see, you've got the division of the clavicle and the scapula. This is how it's fibers. And just to show the deltoid here. So this guy's looking pretty muscular now that we filled it in. And remember the omohyoid goes, you see a little bit of it through here. Take some of this off here. It's too much. I think that's better. When in here, of course, you've got the supraspinatus. It would be filling in that space. And then down here, you have the latissimus. So the latissimus creates the back wall of the armpit, and the pectoralis the front wall. I'm gonna make this a little too thick here. There you go, Sternocleidomastoid there. And see on your neck, you see little highlights like this. This is the scalenius, the omohyoid long muscle does that. And this is the trapezius. See, I'm using some charcoal here because this is like indentation here on this part of the neck. You can do some exploration there on your neck here. You'll feel that it's very tense on this area over the portion of the sternocleidomastoid here. And here it gets a little softer with the exception of those highlights, the omohyoid, the scalenius, and then it gets a little bit more tense over here, over the trapezius. Okay, so I think we'll stop here and we'll continue after spring break. I will post some drawings to do over spring break. I don't know what. I don't think you guys. I don't know you guys are gonna go socialize at the beach. I think this year it's not gonna be a typical spring break. So this is Levator Scapulae, this is Scalenius, Trapezius. All right, so we'll stop there.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
can you post these on the announcements because
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't here. Yeah, because I wasn't here last class and I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff from the front view.
Yeah, I'll post this, and then once I'm done, I will give you guys all these notes also. I'll post them and you can download them.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what am I trying to do? I have to look at your drawings. What are you looking at right now?
Your home screen.
Like my cloud painting and like all the
Yes.
files?
Yes, all the files.
Yeah. All right. And right now, what are you looking at?
The drawing.
Just the drawing, right?
Yes.
What about the background? Do you see the cloud painting?
No.
Okay. All right, let's see. So let me go on Blackboard here and I want to make a quick grade for this. So today's 10th. Now I can stop this recording.